Okay, this is not a Microtech review. It ain't. But I'm going to make a point with value as we press along here for the benefit of you guys who are perhaps a little short on money. But here we go with Microtech to begin with. If you haven't heard, Microtech is again making, for a limited time, no doubt, they always do it that way, the full-sized manual action SOCOM. It will look a little bit like this right here. No, this is not a modern production one. This is circa 2012, but it looks very similar to this one, albeit there are some blade differences in the grind, in the finishing, in the steel. This is a standard tactical black version, satin finished blade, SOCOM. I'm still left-handed, healing up, knife show pressing on. Cast member, Hall of Fame tactical blade, Hall of Fame collectible knife here in TNP. I could get out of this knife easily what I paid for it. Just put it up on the secondary market, it'd sell, no problem. It'd bounce right out the door. S35 steel. Yeah, and so it came back. And in that review in 2012, I think they were coming to the end of their production, and basically anytime I talk about the knife, I was like, don't ever discontinue it. The SOCOM, in both its full-size form, this one here, and the mini SOCOM are just so perfect. Do I have a connection to them because I wore them in my flight suit during my 21-year Air Force career? Yes, totally. I didn't wear it in this plane though, T-38. I didn't have the money, honestly, back then as a first, second lieutenant. No, I couldn't go out and buy a Microtech. You crazy? No way. There's our 172nd entrance. That's a Holloman jet in black, T-38. But no, I didn't use it then, but later in my Air Force career, when I became a major, lieutenant colonel, you betcha, I was rocking, well before TNP, by the way, the mini SOCOM, both the manual actions and the autos shown in many KRVs before throughout the years here in TNP. So as much as I love the blade, there are guys here in the project that are, they're finishing their BOKs, they have bills, they have children. This review's for you. In some way, I still think this is kind of a higher priced knife, but the steel will apostate, albeit it's not exactly like the SOCOM. It isn't. There's a lot of differences. It's less than half the price. It is. So here we go with my tabletop review on this knife right here. Chinese produced, by the way. So this is 100% American produced, and that's one reason why it's expensive. The SOCOM, and this is the steel wheel. I always say steel wheel. It's a steel wheel, and the box is right here. There you go. The Apostate is this version. Now, it is half price than the SOCOM, and I'm all for that. That's awesome. What I see with Wee knives, what I'm seeing with steel will to a certain degree, is be careful with your value points. There are some great designs. I have a lot more reviews I'm planning to do on these really innovative knives that I think still come in at a reasonable price point. But my warning to those companies is quit inching your prices up, because I see them going up and up, especially Wee knives. I'm seeing some Wee knives that are like $300, and I'm like, what? No, I'll go with an American-made manufacturer. Actually, I'll throw another $50 at it, and I'll go with a used Microtech if I want to do that. Well, that's just me, but it's just something to think about. With this Apostate, though, you are getting a lot of knife for that approximate, I don't know, whatever it is, 160 to 190 price point, depending on your variation, and actually depending on supply and demand. Because sometimes I'll review a knife and then lo and behold, things change and the knife goes either way up. Rarely it goes down, usually it goes up. Not in control of that, I've always said that. Here we go with the details of the Apostate. How do you like its looks? I think it looks pretty cool, actually. Has that predatory drop point is what they're calling it. So it's kind of that unsharpened swedge. 3.7 millimeter thick bar stock on the CPM S35 VN steel. So basically, another reason I introed with this, the same steel you're looking at on this knife. In fact, it's basically the same thickness. So this is S35 VN on this Microtech. And so we have the same steel. It's coming in less than half the price of this knife. Same cool factor. We'll never get to the bottom of that bucket. I mean, it really depends. It really depends. There's too many variations on second cool. It's never, ever, ever going to be standardized. But the steel is excellent. I like the flat grind on it. I like that there's an unsharpened flat area right here on the upper portion. So we can use our Edge Pro Apex. The finishing on this blade is fantastic. Better than I've seen from some other knives close to its price point. Got the steel will logo here. We have the dual thumb studs functioning as stop pins right here against the handle. The edge out of this this Apostate is pretty excellent. I like it a lot. Something I do not like a lot is the sharpness of the flipper tab, which is pretty much unforgivable from what I'm considering a pretty high-end Chinese knife design. I mean, come on now, round this off. I can do it in 10 minutes with my Dremel and some sandpaper and actually make it look quite good. You shouldn't have to do that though. It doesn't stick out too far. Some guys would really like that about the Apostate, so it's not a really prominent flipper tab. I find the D10 is overcome easily, even with my offhand, which you're seeing right now, my left hand, as I'm healing up from shoulder surgery. Still. A lot of stills and steals in this review. Still, steel. Good D10, I like it. Let's check this out. Good speed. Ceramic ball bearings in this steel wheel Apostate, and this is a new knife, so it's going to get even faster as you break it in a little bit. One funky thing that looks kind of like a fish to me, it looks like this is a fin to a fish. Once I point out, you're never going to unsee it. Doesn't this look like a shark fin right here? Or a flipper of a seal or something as it comes down here? I don't know why I brought that out. It just looks a little bit funky to me. The weight is 4.8 ounces. If they didn't have this flipper on it, maybe milled down a little bit, get rid of this thickness of steel. Maybe a bit lighter. A little bit heavy for me, especially for a titanium frame lock. It's not bad. Let's look at the locking timing right here. Locking up a little bit early there, not too bad. Hardened steel face on that lock bar. And then we have an internal over travel stop in there. So it's actually that lock bar face. It just extends down into the frame, so I can't hyperextend the lock bar. I see more and more of those in today's knives. I like the finishing on the titanium, and it's pretty excellent. Looks good. Nice radiusing and chamfering going on. You have a titanium backspacer here. In this variation, I got the OD G10 scale version, and I like it. Looks good. Elongated hole here for your lanyard. Reversible clip, and I'm not super fond of the clip. It's a miss for me. Not just a miss, like a complete miss. I mean, I have this much of the knife sticking out of my pocket. I'm not for it. Let's bring that SOCOM in. That carries tip down, but for that design, like I mentioned in the review many years ago, it makes more sense because you only have this much portion, and because you have that radius of the handle, there's not that much protruding from your pocket. Say in comment if you really like deep carry or if you just don't care. I get the feeling, I've been ranting about it for over 13 years here, that I love it. I love deep carry. And it's easy enough if you don't like it to just put a run of skateboard tape on it so you can extract your knife out quicker. The only issue I've really seen that makes any sense, I don't like deep carry because I don't have anything to grab onto the knife, on the knife so I can get out of the pocket. Deep carry. Or skateboard tape, your friend. Notice they CNC milled out the G10. Isn't that interesting? You see that in there? That's funky. And they did it on the titanium frame lock portion as well. You can see the milling there. So that's a machining process. That costs money. It costs time. It costs in cutter heads. You know, if there's a US knife with this type of, I don't know, detailing I'm seeing right here, maybe a $300 knife. I'll just guess. Maybe $300. And it's a really good steel as well. Blackened hardware on the Apostate. Yeah, it's really a cool knife. It is. That being said, I'll be honest with you, it's not really talking to me, the Apostate. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the so-called predatory child predator drop point, whatever they're calling it. I don't know. It's okay. I like it. For me, it's just not holding like, oh my gosh, that's really a cool knife. Maybe it's the seal flipper thing I see going on here. Maybe it's the weight. It's a little bit heavy. Actually, I'm totally wrong on that because it's the same weight as the SOCOM. 4.6 ounces, this one. It's not super light. Let's do a size comparison once again. If I can deploy this sucker. There you go. But I think, don't let that bias you because it's a really, really good knife. It is. And again, it's going to come in at half the price of that SOCOM on the top. Same steel, y'all. Same steel. Granted, different construction methods. This is a titanium frame lock with an over travel stop. This is a captured liner lock in a 6061 aluminum frame. Here comes a Spyderco military, just for, I don't know, size comparison. This is the Blade HQ Natural G10 variation. I wonder if they still have this. If they do, I'll put a link to that down there below. This is CPM M4, dudes. Oh, that's a good looking knife. Spyderco, been missing a little bit here in the knife show. I've been concentrating on other brands. I'll tell you what though, I've given them a lot of love over the years. Oh my gosh, I've sold a lot of Spyderco blades, like thousands. Love this knife, albeit there's another funky clip presentation. I said that in my like 2009 review of the military. I didn't like it then. This is a captured liner lock, just like this one. Really good steel, thumb ramp, sharp, wicked sharp. M4 is a great steel. Love the natural jade color of the G10. It's a great collectible right there. Never mind EDC tactical fighting blade. I mean, seriously, the military has most of it. The only thing I don't like is the clip. Captured liner lock. I love that knife, especially in that coloration. It's just super cool to me. One other competitive option. It's really not a competitive option, but I want to show you because I was complaining that, you know, this was a little bit on the heavy side. I don't know if that's completely warranted because I just reviewed this CRKT. It's a stainless steel frame lock. You guys remember this one? Huh. Speak of the devil, there's some skateboard tape I put on it so I get out of pocket because it's slippery. Somewhat deep carry. This is the CRKT Remedy. IKBS. So basically the same ball bearing system this one has. I think this is 8CR on this blade. Decent jimping. Super inexpensive. Let's put that up as a size comparison. And I forget the price exactly, but it's like minuscule. The CRKT Remedy, it's minuscule. But look at how good that presents against that steel will. Steel will. I should just call it steel wheel. I think I will. On all my future care reviews, I'll just say, yeah, this is a steel wheel review. Watch, still rocking the CCCP Aurora from Drop. Fantastic. I talked to some TNPers, by the way, who ordered it from Drop. They got theirs, and man, they love it. And by the way, the review is complete.